Okay, welcome back to Tips and Bits, and I want to go over the head today, right? So let's start with the profile. Head is seen from this side, so we block in a time-honored way of doing it is this: you block in first the volume of the cranium, the cranial volume, right, which is this portioning here, right? And then the facial, the face, this portioning here. So, but you don't just do an old egg and a mask. You know, make sure that the proportion of this are properly related to that, right? So let's go over it again. You draw an egg. It's bigger than an ostrich egg, and then the mask, right? So when you do this, you want to make sure that there are some proportions. These are the thing you have to pay attention to. So first, let me draw it like this. First here, at the base of the skull correspond also to the base of the nose. And the brow ridge up here is the same measure that you have between here and here, here and here, and here and here, right? So this measurement here is, these are thirds. See that? These are 3 equal thirds. So if I have done this measurement, this drawing correctly, then I have from the chin to the nose, 1/3, from the nose to the brow ridge, 1/3, from the brow ridge to the top, 1/3. So then what you want to do, you want to make sure that as you draw the jawline, right, the jawline will divide the head in 2 parts if you want, one posterior to the jawline, one anterior to the jawline, and behind this line that goes through the jawline, I'm gonna have the ear, but we're gonna look at the ear later on, okay? But these 2 halves are asymmetrical. This is bigger and this is smaller, all right? It's like always. This is always slightly bigger than that. So now the brow ridge, okay, we have the brow ridge in here, right? And then the peak, the top of the head, which corresponds also to the maximum height of the person, is up here in line with the jawline, okay? So now what I want to do, I want to block in here the brow ridge, and there is a point in here, the beginning of the nose, right? This is called nasion, and it's this point here, right? The beginning of the nose, right? So we're seeing that the nose will come down at the lower third, right? The lips, so you notice this slightly curved forming here, right? The lips are going to follow that clearly, right? And typically we're going to have the upper lip, well, not typically, but often, right? The upper lip slightly protruding compared to the lower lip, right? Then the chin, and that's your profile, right? So now let's see what happens when we put in here the orbit. So the line of the orbit, this, see how it is like a C, see that? Sorry, here. It's like a C, moves back and then forward like this, right? But it's at an angle, starting a little bit above the nasion at the brow ridge here. So the brow ridge here moves back, and then more or less halfway the length of the nose here is the lower portion of the orbit, right? So you want this to be at an angle like this, because what happened in here is this, is that this bony margin in here will protect the eye somehow. So the eyeball will, in a Caucasian eye, will not protrude past the margin of the orbit, or be very close to it, right? So so now we move on and we look at a little bit at the the ear. Let's see where the ear is going. Actually, let's block in the back of the head. So the spine is going to be here, more or less, at the same level as the jawline, a little bit anterior, but it's easy like this, and occupy about half of the posterior space of the cranium here, like this, right? So, but this portion here is not going to be empty. You're going to have muscles here, and then here, Adam's apple and muscle is a little bit skinny. See this neck, a little bit skinny. All right, let's make it a little bit chunkier, right? Like that. And that looks a little bit better, right? So you want to notice how the neck will flare out, right? Goes out like this. So here I'm going to have a little fold at the corner of the mouth. Here at the level of the nostril, I have another little fold in here that is called nasolabial furrow, and then we can block in the plane. So from this portion here, where the brow ridge becomes the lateral side, the descending part of the orbit, here I have the temporal ridge, which is determining the top plane, defining the top plane from the side plane, right? So this is the posterior plane on the occipital bone. This is the frontal plane, and so now we have top, front, back, side planes. Along this, on the side in here, at this level here, I'm going to have a some sort of widening of the head, which we're going to see later on when we see the side of the front of the head, and that is given by the zygomatic arch, right? Comes out like this. So below here there's another plane like this, and this plane here is created by the masseter muscle, and then I have now here the nose, right? So what you want to do, you want to practice now drawing the head like this, right? Start either with a circle and then this line here of the facial mask, right? And then make sure that as you draw this, now you make your measurement, right? Eventually you will get very good at it, but they should be about the same measurement, from the chin to the nose, from the nose to the brow ridge, from the brow ridge to the top of the head. And then if you need to, you are going to, actually you will need to mark, define the angles of the cranium a little bit more clearly. So I would like to show you in the textbook, you're gonna have, you've seen my book, no? Ready? Yeah. There's a lot of charts. Let me get this. A lot of charts, from very simple, right, to more complex, the planes of the head, etc., etc. Also, if you can buy this, this is called the planes of the head, and it's an excellent tool. I don't get any money by advertising this, but it's a very good tool, and so on, planes and etc. and muscle. But what I wanted to show you is on Tuesday, if you can come, if you live in the area, I'll be giving an artist talk at the Princeton Academy of Art. So you're welcome. Just maybe call in advance, let them know you're coming, and I'll see you there.